It snowed again. It's definitely cold out here. But today in the stand, I'm getting the French bike done. Well, when I say done, you know, I really mean stripped down. I'm gonna get the Mercier, strip it down, so I can find somewhere warm to work on the frame, because I obviously can't spray it in these temperatures outside and these wet conditions. So I'm going to have to find somewhere to spray the frame. I'm just going to lacquer it. I'm not going to do anything else with it because I want to keep the patina on it. It looks great with the wear. I have a set of tyres that I've bought. I just happened to come across these on eBay. They were reduced in a sale. Schwalbe active K-guard tyres. I was actually looking for some other tyres for a bike, but then I realised these are like heavily reduced, and they're 37 by 584, and these ones on the bike are slightly wider. They're a 47 or 44, sorry, but they are the 584, so they'll go straight on. A cream / white wool tyre rather than amber wool. But I can't fit those straight away because I'm going to need to strip the rims, start cleaning all the paintwork, all the alloy and everything because of the paint that's gone on it. But yeah, I guess let's start stripping it down and start cleaning everything up as well. Okay, so I'm pretty much done stripping the bike down now. There's essentially just the bottom bracket to get out and this non-drive side crank, which is a little stiff. The drive side was actually pretty loose because of the cutter pin. It was very worn. I mean, it's meant to be an angled piece there, but this has got a sharp face on it where it's been wearing up against the actual crank, against the axle. But on flipping the bike over, what I've noticed is here, so it's not very visible on the camera, but to me it's like perfect. We've got Nervex here, which will be the lugs. So it's got Nervex lugs all round, but it's also got a serial number underneath, and the first 4 digits of that are 1962. So I might have been a little off with the original dating. I thought it was possibly 50s. It looks like it could be a 60s bike, if that just 62 is the date. But hey, we've got Nervex lugs all the way around, and I've noticed as well, if I just grab this, I highly doubt you're going to be able to see this. Okay, there's some writing just there. Can I focus? Focus, please. I can't really focus on that for some reason. But here, on the fork, on the steerer, it says Durifort. Although it is worn, you can just make out the D-U-R-I-F-O-R-T. So, I mean, I have to imagine that the tubing that this bike is made out of is Durifort, which is a French tubing manufacturer. I'm going to have a look around the bike a bit more for any more details that pop up. Haven't noticed anything else just yet that has got names on, but one interesting thing that I find is, well, oh, you can't see it on there. Still can't see it. Cabling. Cabling is interesting on this bike. I really like the way that they've routed all the cabling for the dynamos. And if I take the front mudguard, I can kind of show you that. Obviously this part is where it would go up into the forks, into the crown race, and this is the cabling which, where would it come? It would run down the stays, down the down tube or whichever. But that is the cabling from the dynamo itself, and you can see it's run into the mudguard. Now if you flip it over, instead of going around the fork itself, it's gone through the mudguard, and then it runs up along and along the crease. It's actually been popped into the crease of the mudguard, so whether it's been formed over, whether this is original I don't know, because the bike has definitely been sort of fettled with over the years, but it will run along there and it pops back out again to go back into the front light, which it pops out there. So I mean, that's just something that I find interesting on this bike. The rear mudguard is the same. It will loop into the rear mudguard at the base and run all the way around the lip of the mudguard before it pops out. Which is cool, a nice little feature. It keeps everything nice and tidy. It saves cables running everywhere. That does mean that I'm going to have an absolute pain of a job trying to rework this cabling. And while I've got you here, any French people, any French nationals that are watching this, do you have a Subits, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, front light, which would suit this. I think it's like a, well, it's going to be 60s, 50s, 60s style, obviously chrome. And yeah, I need one for the front here. So it's going to sit on the front, but what I also need is the rear light. It's a Subits, and it's got a Catalux 5, a Catalux 5 rear light, so I need the lens for that. I've had a look around and all I can see is the Catalux 3 and the Catalux 6. So if you've got a 5, that would be awesome, and a front light to match. Thank you. Actually, while we're on the subject of mudguards here, this rear mudguard is really battered. I'm going to start to try and strip off this paint, because this should all be an aluminium underneath with a green stripe up the centre. But you can see how many holes have been drilled into this. There should be a bracket on here for the rear mudguard to attach to, or for the pannier rack on the rear to attach to, which it was, but it's been drilled in various places for extras, for new ones. I'd guess this is the original here in the middle, but yeah, it's a bit battered, and the same at the mounting point for the brake bridge. Well, I mean, it's got a huge hole in it. So the rear mudguard is not in good shape. I'm going to try and save it. I'll try and save as best I can. It's obviously been loose and broken away here. I might just be able to use a modern bridge. I say modern. A replacement bridge, something like this. Yeah, I could actually maybe just use something like that to fix over and hook it on, if I can get the right size, because this will be quite a wide mudguard. So that's something I'll probably add to save this mudguard and to kind of patch it up. I'll have to go over there and I'll have to stretch the clamps over the edges, and obviously run the new wiring round. Okay, here's the bell. Gino Auriac, I'm terrible. This is all going to be like terrible French. It does not work. I'm sorry to say, it does not work. And the reason why is it's missing mechanisms. Here's the inside. So you've still got the spring, you've still got the hammer arms, but it's missing the cog off, well, there, and it should have something attached into there. So unfortunately this bell is just a display unless I can piece bits together from other bells. That's disappointing. I've got something else interesting about this crankset. Still can't quite work out sort of what brand it is. It's a heavy old crankset, definitely made to last. On the inside we've got a lock ring. So it looks like you can maybe change the rings. It's definitely secure, but yeah, it looks like you can unwind it and change the rings if need be, which is kind of cool. Definitely have French threaded pedals. The other one I've took off has got an M14 stamp on it, so I'm going to need a matching pair of those. We saw before that the calipers on all the chrome and all the aluminium have been painted. It shouldn't actually be too hard to clean them up. This one, you've literally just seen me just taking some wire wool and it's just scratched the paint off because it didn't stick to the chrome. So the chrome should be fairly easy to clean up. You can see why they've painted it. I mean, you've got the corrosion on there, but it adds to the age. So we'll clean that up, we'll polish it up. And this is the front caliper, which is actually broken. The 2 arms and a lock nut and a actual nut, so 2 nuts should fit on the top of here, but you can see it's snapped off. So I'm going to dig through my bin, see if I've got a spare through bolt to fix it to, and see if we can get this caliper reassembled. And once it's all cleaned up and ready to roll. Genie. There's 1 set on it, 2 sets maybe on eBay. Should worse come to worse, but they're £30–40 a set. So I want to try and repair it first. So we'll have a look at that. So we've got the wheels here. I've got some new tyres. Where did I put them? I've put them at the back. So I've got some new tyres for them already, as these ones are clearly way beyond fixing. We've got the nice wing nuts on the front. The axle needs to be cleaned up because you can't actually sort of do both sides individually. And yeah, everything has been painted. So we'll just have a little scratch up. Yeah, that will come off easy. I mean, the spokes are going to take some cleaning. The little bit of wire will clean up the spokes. The rim. Oh, even the braking surface has been painted. I thought this black line around the side was the metal, but it's actually just the rubber. Okay, the rim's stuck down more, so that's going to take a little bit more effort. Hub. Well, the spokes are coming clean. God, ideally I might need to strip this wheel down, and so I can properly access it. But the sort of outside parts of the hub, they're coming off. Yeah, the spokes will clean up without too much trouble. Rims, I'm going to have to try and get some paint stripper. I just realised you couldn't actually see that. So there's the spokes. Painted section, just use some wire wool to clean up that. Just to touch it's a lot smoother. And just this section here, you can see I thought this black was all metal. It's not, it's just the rubber off the pads, and that is the surface of the paint. So what I'm going to do is scratch it up so that some thinners has some try at penetrating it, and see if I can remove that. It's obviously been ridden around with the paint on, so I don't know how well that would have braked. But yeah, I think actually I might have to strip the wheels down and completely rebuild them. Okay, I'm definitely leaning towards stripping this wheel down, or both wheels down, to rework them. But I've uncovered the brand of the front hub at least. It's a Sprinter. You can see the logo there. I've only ever heard of Sprinter on some mountain bike forks from the 90s, so I'll have to look into that. But yeah, I mean that's a pain in the ass to try and get me fingers into there and rub it down. It's a nightmare. So I think best bet is going to be to strip this down completely. The only other option I can think is if the powder coating guys that I use can like do an acid bath or something to strip all the paint off, but I don't want to affect the chrome, so I'll have to have a word with them and see about that. So, I say so a lot. The front wheel stripped down. We've got the Sprinter front hub. The rim, to be honest, like now I'm looking at them, I'm probably going to replace them. There's going to be a lot of work to try and strip them down, strip all the paint off and everything. So I'm just going to replace them with some probably modern alloy rims. Probably also go 26 by 1 3/8 rather than the 650B, I think these are. And they're slightly different tyres. Even though they're both 26-inch, they are very slightly different. Rear hub, I've just cleaned up. The rear hub is also a Sprinter. We've got a freewheel that it's all in fancy script like writing. It looks like it says mellow. Never heard of that though. And I didn't think I had at all, but I don't know where I got these from. I think this was from a job lot that I picked up a while ago. It came with this thing. Tiny shop. Yeah. Came with this thing, which, I mean, if you take it out, I've got it stuck. If you take it out, that looks like a bottom bracket cup tool, but it's just slightly misshapen. But this might save me buying a new tool, because if I take off the top lock ring, it looks like it should fit in here, which is awesome. The pegs are slightly thinner, but apart from that, the only one I have is this one, which is the Park FR2. I think it's for Sun Tour, which is, well, you can see it's clearly too small. So I'm just going to have to take off one of the lock nuts, drop that in, and see if I can undo that. If I can, awesome. It saves me buying a new tool, and it saves me messing around with stuff. Messing around with stuff. It means I can just take apart this wheel, clean up the hub. There we go. And yeah, get cracking on it. I mean, the chrome rims, they're not going to clean up properly. They'll probably paint it because they're corroded. So, best bet is going to be to go modern. I know people will agree with me here. Stick some modern stainless spokes in there. It will look awesome. And in terms of chain, like this is a 3-speed. There we go. This is a 3-speed hub. It's freewheel. So chain is 1/8 of an inch, same as a single speed, and so it's fat. I'm gonna try and keep the old one. I'm gonna see how bad it is, because these 3-speed freewheels are really hard to come by, and if you do want to buy one, it's really expensive. So I'm gonna try and clean up the old chain. Worst comes to worst, I'll get a new chain, but it might not mesh. So I need to put something over the top of there. Will that go on? You got to be very careful. It's not entirely a good fit, but this nut should hopefully hold it in place. Wish me luck. I don't want to chew the flats off. Oh, that's tight. There we go. It worked. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. So there we go, had to be, there we go, yeah. Had to be real careful then. because I didn't want to wreck the flats on this. I have seen some before which have them completely destroyed because of people using the wrong tools, and it destroys them. Battery's dying, so I'm going to strip this, take this freewheel off, strip this wheel down so I can clean up the hub. Okay, wheel's done. I'm just packing everything away now, so I'm just going to run through what I've missed. This is the saddle, White Star. White Star? Yeah, I think so. There's a couple of marks on it which I'm going to try and get out, possibly paint stains, and there's one rivet missing from the nose. It seems to be fairly stable. The rivets are loose, but the leather itself is in good nick. Couple of like scuffs, but it should clean up. If I can replace the rivets, I'm going to look into that. I will do so, because we need to make this saddle last. Okay, so this is the Cyclo derailleur that's on the bike, 3-speed. The only downside about this derailleur is the chain. I'm going to have to strip the derailleur down to try and figure out what to do with it. You can see obviously it's broken at some point and they've just tied it on, so that might be, I don't know, I've never worked on one of these derailleurs before, so something to learn. It looks like it can just strip down. We've got a nut on the top here, we've got nuts on the back holding the pulleys on, so it should just be able to strip down bits whether I can get it back together again and keep all the tensions in place, because, well, actually there's not much tension on that swing. Like, it's not going to pull back into place, so I mean it might be, oh wait, no, sorry, the tension on this isn't in the derailleur. This part is the springing backwards and forwards, which you can see because it's just fallen apart there, but the swing of the arm here is tensioned with a little hook on the end which attaches to a spring on the frame. So yeah, this is going to need a good stripping down and a good rebuild on that derailleur, which will be fun. Pannier rack, or rear rack, luggage rack, whatever you want to call it. I did think it was chrome. Turns out it's not. I've scraped back the paint, the grey paint that was on there, and revealed green underneath. So it should be the same colour as the frame, which makes it a bit easier for me. So I am going to clean all this back, try and take off all the paint, get it right back, and try and match up some paint to the frame and spray this so it looks all nice and original again. That'd be a nice job actually. So, because these mudguards are aluminium, they should be really easy to clean up. I mean, it's going to still take a lot of work, but it's not going to be hard work. I can just scratch it off with some wire wool, scratch all the paint off to reveal the aluminium underneath. This grade will leave some scratches in the aluminium itself, but I can get that out with some wet and dry and some polish, and I'll be able to get these back up real nice. Like I've shown before, the only downside about these mudguards are that they've been so beat up before, and oh wow, that's bright. The green stripe, I'm not sure how I'm going to get this back. I might be able to preserve it. I'm going to have to be very careful, but it has been painted over in places. I might be able to just like spray a colour on there, but it's kind of a, what's the word, translucent, I think, translucent colour, almost like a coloured lacquer that's gone on. It's not just a normal paint, so I'll have to look into that, but the mudguards will clean up, no problem. Well, yeah, you can see the area that I've started already, so I mean it literally is just going to come off with some abrasive. Whoops, rims. Okay, so I think that's about it for the strip down. I've gone through pretty much everything on the bike, stripped it down, found out that it's more than likely 1962 rather than 50s. We've stripped down the wheels. I'm going to replace the rims with some new ones, some new spokes. Gonna have to strip down the derailleur in another video to see how that looks. The rest of the parts should clean up well, like the chrome comes off the calipers alright, they'll clean up. The mudguards are going to take some while to strip down, but they'll look alright in the end. The frame, which way am I going on focus? That way. I've cleaned up this section just with a little bit of T-cut, not put much effort in, and it's come up like quite well. So I'm gonna work on doing that. You can see this side where it's still got the dirt on it. I've got to really give the frame a thorough clean. Depends on if I can get a paint matched up. I might just touch up some of the bigger areas of wear, but like the part in here where it's someone's been stepping through the frame repeatedly, I'm gonna leave that. That wear is definitely staying, but just little chips areas I might just touch up. But yeah, that's it. So 62 Mercier Mixte, stripped down. We're going to preserve this one, keep it looking nice and original as can be. Rebuild the wheels, clean up all the painted areas that were done some time ago. Fix the derailleur and it can all go back together. So yeah. Hope this little bit of progress has been interesting. Just finding out little bits more about the bike, about the frame. I have looked up and spinner on the hubs. I can't really find any info on the company. So if you're French and you know about spinner, please let me know. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna stop babbling. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of jazz that YouTube will tell you to do. If you don't like the video, if you don't like this little bit of progression, then I mean, hit thumbs down. But you know, please leave a note where to improve, what you didn't like about the video. It's just nice to hear feedback, and then so you can improve on it. If you just hit thumbs down or thumbs up and don't leave a comment, then it's kind of hard to know where to improve. So just a bit of feedback. But yeah, next video I will be going through probably rebuilding it, because you don't want to watch the stripping down of all the paints and like how many hours I will put into cleaning it up. So next video will be the build up, and then we'll have a beautiful Mercier Mixte. So yeah, thanks again, thanks for watching, peace. I'm not going to say peace. See you in the next one.